Hi, Dr. Nick. How's it going? I hope everybody's having a fantabulous time wherever you are. I'm always trying to promote, you know, good times, good vibes, and also just having a good chat overall. If you're watching this after the fact, well, I mean, that's okay too. I do these on a whim, and to be honest, it's really late. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning actually, which that clock is wrong. It's closer to 1 o'clock in the morning than actually it is 1 o'clock in the morning. Look at that. I didn't realize because that clock shows that it's 1:45 because I need to fix the batteries of that. But I've got here my turbo, which I do want to get installed in the car at some point, but that costs money that I don't have, and I need to get the header installed first before I think about modifying said header for this, which I don't even know how we're gonna really modify the header for the turbo. Who knows? Maybe I might not even do this turbo. Maybe I'll do like a supercharger or something on my car in the future. Um, but yeah, and I see that Harvey's in the chat. And like this turbo, I got this a few years ago from my buddy. Actually, his name is Cody. He no longer lives in Alberta. Sadly, he's in Ontario now. But this is an IHI AS12 turbo. They put these on like Perkins diesels and stuff like that. It's only 46 millimeters, and it's really like it would be a really good turbo for my car, to be honest. And you know, free turbos are the best turbos because you don't have to pay for them, right? But like I don't even know how I'd mount this because of my header situation. Once I have that installed, which I do have the gasket, that came in, which is awesome. So and it's kind of funny. You can actually see a trophy over there, or I guess for you it's over there, but for me it's over there. Um, but that trophy sitting right there is actually from when my car made the lowest horsepower by a female on the dyno. So that was I was gunning for that, and I won that a few months ago. That was actually Mother's Day this year with the dyno, and that's the second time I had met John. Actually, first time I was gonna be trying to pick up a friend's vehicle that was on the property there, but that didn't happen. It was just way too buried in the snow, and yeah, and to be honest, that Mustang was quite rough. Um, so I'm kind of glad that we didn't really pick it up and start working on it because it was rough. Um, you may have. That wasn't the dyno that when my car made, like the really, really terrible numbers where it made like 50 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque. That was just a bad tank of gas, to be honest. Which that was actually the last time that we met each other at the pinup detailing there. It's and like later on in the day we had that failure of the drive shaft and everything, but yeah, to be honest, like um but like the car made on that the day that I got that trophy was 91 horsepower, 185 foot-pounds of torque. It's not making that sort of power right now though with that Holly carb. I need to tune that Holly more. And it's just really annoying. Holly carbs are always just a little finicky, to be honest. I don't really like Holly carbs are great, although because I don't even think does Edelbrock actually make a 2 barrel carb? If they did, I would actually go for that rather than this Holly because Edelbrock carbs are just they're better than Hollies, to be honest. I like them because they're a lot more tuner friendly, but because I don't think they do. Like Holly obviously does, and like this old Holly, it's a good carburetor and all, but it just really needs that fine tuning. Where like my Motorcraft didn't really need fine tuning. It was just like okay, just set it and go, and it was quite nice, and it made good power actually out of that. But right now, there's something that's funny. Now, I mean, mind you, I do wonder if it's the case of actually the tires. I didn't even consider that. So the tires that I had on the car, because I don't think I ever. No, that's right, I never did. Um, it's possible actually that it's making the same power numbers. Possible. I don't know for sure, but like the Holly should make a little more because it still has the annular boosters, just like the Motorcraft did. Um, and you have more fine tuning points within it. It's also jetted higher than what the Motorcraft was. Like the Motorcraft was jetted to I think a 49. I have this jetted to I think 54 or 56. I think. I'd have to look at what jets I put it in. I can't remember. But yeah, actually, I need to grab a drink really quick. Let me just do that very fast. Um, there we go. Just like that. So, like, it was really awesome because, I mean, I have that, that header for the car now, which I really want to get installed. It's just affording the actual installation of it. And I'm waiting for the header bolts to come in, which, to be honest, they'll be in next week, I think it is. Which, all they are, they're small block Chevy header bolts. I think it's Edelbrock that uses the oddball ones because a lot of people actually use just like Holly jets outright. Even Motorcraft used those jets outright, but oh wait, no. Edelbrock uses actually I think Edelbrock uses Holly carbs. Carter uses their or jets. Sorry, Carter uses their own jets. And then Motorcraft uses their own jets as well. Although, but like my Motorcraft carb though that I have used Holly jets because it's an early Motorcraft carb. So because it's off of like a 63 Galaxy. And and it's quite nice that they use that because I had that other Motorcraft carb. I could never get it to run right. That later they say that the Motorcraft 2150 carbs are actually the best carbs, but I could never get that thing to run right. And it was a carb that had like 500 kilometers on it. It should have been perfect. We even rebuilt it. Still did not do anything, so I said, screw it. I just said, screw it. But, and then actually Roy had this other carb, and that carb is combined with 3 other carburetors. And to be honest, I should just get a rebuild kit for that and just rebuild that carburetor and have it for when I need it. Because I'm not going to get rid of that carb. It's too rare of a carburetor to get rid of, in my opinion. And it's still a good carburetor. It's just after I vapor locked it, it just wasn't 100% after that. Still really good, but not, like I said, not 100%. So I'm, that'll be one of the things I'll do in the next little while, probably. And the carb is not complicated at all, to be honest. Those Motorcraft carbs are quite simple. It's just they're annoying if you want to do a jet change because you have to take the entire carb apart just about. Like you have to take the top of the carb off, which is like six or 8 screws that come out, and then you have to take the float out, and then the jets are way at the bottom of the carburetor. Now, the nice thing about a Motorcraft carb, though, is say you have a weak battery, kind of like my car, it's not the end of the world. Well, actually, the Motorcraft design, I shouldn't say that, actually. Motorcraft design is really nice for cold starting purposes as well because of the jets being at the bottom of the carb versus the Holly carbs where they are more centralized. So you have to fill up that, to fill up the bowls of the carb, it actually has to do quite a bit of cranking before it can do that. Where the motorcraft, it's almost instant where you can fire it off and it's quite nice. But, you know, it's one of those things. And like in this Holy Carb, because I still need to set up the manual choke. I just haven't figured out where I want to actually run the choke wire. So, because I could run it to the well, I know where to run it to, but what I mean is um run it so like where I want to actually mount it inside the car. And if if it didn't have the fresh air vents and if it didn't have the wiring for the fog lights still, because I still have that wiring there, it just I need to still install the fog lights and stuff like that, which will be in the future, But I want to dye said fog lights so that they actually work as fog lights rather than floodlights, even though they're classified as fog lights, but they emit white light. I'm pretty sure. I can hook them up to a battery and just check, but they're not even here. They're up in Edmonton, so it's one of these things. And actually, something though is my spare engine got moved since I was because I was up there just the other day, and I found out that my engine. This was Thursday. My engine is actually in. Oh, to be honest, I don't ever have to take apart the. I won't have to ever remove the dash out of the car, so it's not a big deal. It's gonna be mounted somewhere in the vicinity. It's gonna be mounted to the dash, just underneath, right beside the radio. Probably is my thought process, but I don't know for sure. It's the only logical place because I can't, and then I just had to figure out where I'm gonna drill the hole in the firewall for it as well because I can't run it. There's no existing hole for it. Which I kind of wish there was, but that's okay. This car was never designed with that in mind. And what do you want, Saber? You have food. Come here, bud. Come here. You want a cuddle? Come here, bud. Oh, there we go. And because the thing is, the dash in my car will never have to be removed. Unless if I have to rewire the car, but that's not a big deal. And you might think, well, what about for a heater core? You don't need to remove the dash for the heater core in that thing. Because it's a non-AC early car, all you have to do is remove the glove box door and 6 bolts and it comes right out. It's really awesome. It's not like later cars or AC cars that have that. Yeah, and to be honest, where that hole is kind of a pain in the ass anyways. But, yeah, and I swapped it for a 5-speed. If it was still an automatic, different story. I could do that, but... And then there's my cat licking my water, or licking my bottle because he can. It's just what he does. But he's licking it because there's, the condensation on it. It's just so funny. I'll have to drill a hole in the firewall. It's not a big deal. It's just figuring out where I want to do it. I'll have to get I'll have to get it mounted sort of in the car first. They don't think for people to modify their cars in the future. Why would they think that? But to be honest, the hole that I drill, though, I would want to find a rubber grommet that would fit said hole and do it that way. Just so that it's, it's not going to fray the cable or anything if it, gets caught on the firewall or anything. So, that's another thing, too. Because it's not just as simple as, hey, doing it. And I don't think my kit comes with one. I have to look at my kit again, but I don't think it does. So, find out, and because I could drill the hole to whatever size I want. It's not a big deal. Because basically it's just got to fit, you know, the cable through it, and then it could be as big or small. Not a big deal. But that's just something for the future. Alternatively, I could do. Actually, I could do that too. Instead of using a grommet, like that. No, actually, that would just wear through it. Never mind, that wouldn't work. The rubber is a better idea. Yeah, the rubber's a better idea. Because I was also thinking like they make this sort of felt stuff that you could put on, but no, that wouldn't really look good either. And nice rubber grommet would be nice and clean too. So that's the way. And what's interesting is because a friend of mine he was thinking of this convoluted, weird thing. I don't even know what he was getting on about. Of because my throttle cable is extremely long, and I know that, and that's fine though. I It doesn't bother me one bit, and if it frays again, well, oddly enough, I can just cut down the sheathing of the cable so that I can straighten out the cable a bit and extend my line out. So to be honest, it can fray so many different times, and it's not a big deal. It won't fray again though, or at least it shouldn't anytime soon, because of it actually got cut properly this time. Because when I tried to cut it, I screwed up, and if you can't get it in one fell sort of cut, you're screwed because it'll fray on you. And if you don't tape it as well, because that's one thing, I didn't tape it, and I could not get it in one nice thing because I just don't have the hand strength to really cut a cable with one hand. So that was kind of the struggle there. But now that it's done, it's all fine. And just once I fix that choke, I will be able to. I should be able to cold start the car a little easier because cold starts in the car are kind of a pain in the ass. I have to attempt like 2 or 3 times, and it'll finally fire up. But it's not a big deal. I'm not too worried about it. But I'll get that choke cable installed soon, and I'll figure out stuff from there. But then, like I said, I'm waiting for parts for the header because all I need right now is the header bolts to come in, and then save up a bit more cash to actually afford to send it to the exhaust shop to actually have it installed. Now, the one thing is, I will install the header myself, but the exhaust will be hooked up there. And something that's going to be really funny is, so when it happens, that car is going to be open headers going down the highway. It's going to be loud. Very loud. For a little bit. And then once the exhaust gets hooked up, it's actually going to sound different. It's going to be a lot more powerful. And what's kind of cool, because right now, I have dual exhaust on the car, right? But how it is... Oh, yeah, it will be. And, I mean, I've driven that thing with open manifold before. But open header is a lot louder than open manifold. And I'll be driving from the farm to Leduc. Because it's Tim's muffler in Leduc. But this exhaust is going to be different because it's a dual exhaust header, right? So, instead of right now, where it's coming off the manifold and it's wide off into duals, what's going to happen is going to get rid of that whole Y section there and just have it, have them connect it to the existing exhaust. Oh, they really are. They're so cheap and they're really good, to be honest. They did the exhaust on my car, and I love the fact that it's not expensive. Like the entire exhaust on my car, I think now minus tips, minus mufflers, I think it was like $300, which is actually a really good price. I didn't pay for it though; it was actually a gift from my buddy and from my buddy Keith. And because something I might ask him, because every year, he gives me like for Christmas and my birthday, he gives me money, but I might actually ask him, instead of Christmas present of being money, can you just pay for Tim's muffler to get the exhaust in? And but something that I might do, and I'll have to ask my friend Jordan to see, does he still have that powder coating oven? Because if so, I might ask him if he can powder coat the header. It'll just be a little better than what it is right now. But the one thing is, though, is that I'd have to have it installed to know for sure if I don't just have to bash in the header. I mean, it's not a big deal if I have to bash in the header a little bit when when that's kind of done. But we shall see. Because the only thing that I might have to clearance, like we'll see, is the starter. But what's cool though is, so if I need a mini starter, the thing is, the mini starters that actually fit that thing, for a 460 mini starter will fit my car. Which is freaking awesome, to be honest, that'll actually work. But I have to make sure 460 mini manual starter, because I found out that manual and automatic starters for Fords at least can be different, because mine was. To be honest, when I got that starter, I should have just got a mini starter at the time. I didn't need one, but it would have been nice, to be honest. But yeah, because actually something, I might actually be in Calgary tomorrow to go to a car meet. Because the one car club I'm part of, which is No Boys Loud, they're actually rebranding to something else, and I'm one of the original members, and they want me in the promo video, so I might just ask Sarah if she can just give me like $20 in gas, just so that I can, kind of afford this better. Like, I can kind of afford it, but stuff's tight right now. It really is. It's just one of these deals, right? But we shall see. And yeah, that'd be tomorrow evening. That I'll go to said car meeting. It'll be probably the last one, or maybe second to last car meet of the year. Because, well, what's around the corner, right? Although weather is supposed to be still like in the late, like in the teens and 20s for the next like week or so, which is awesome. I don't have to put my winter tires on the car yet. And something that's interesting. So when I had my small tires on the car, like my those CSA wheels that I have, and actually something that I didn't even think about. So and I would just have to test this, to be honest. This will be the test. When I put the winter tires on the car, which I'm only going to put 2 winter tires on the car, I'll keep the front tires not winter tires. And even though I should swap them all 4. No, actually, you know what? I'll swap all 4. It's great. I'll swap all 4. Because I was thinking, put 2 on the 2 on Stitch, 2 on the Capri, but I'm not really gonna drive the Capri because she's not gonna get fixed right away. I've got the carburetor. I want to install it, but it's been sitting in a box for 30 years. It probably should be gone through. I should probably get a carb rebuild kit for it, just to make sure that it's all okay, because those gaskets might just be absolutely screwed. Because I'd hate to hook it up in the car and then it just leaks like a bastard, right? That would just suck. So, that's just one of the things. And something else too that I didn't even think about this. Um, because I really hate how the throttle, um, the throttle cable bracket on that thing is actually made from the factory. It's just this big gargantuan thing that makes zero sense of why they did it that way. And to be honest, I really think that it only needs one point of contact. It shouldn't need two, because it should stay in place just fine. Um, so what I might actually do is, when I swap the car about, I'll take that whole bracket off the car, and I will just grab my sawzall and cut the bracket that bolts it to the the carb. Well, see, Harvey, it no, it's not. Or so let me correct that. Because of, it's possible that when I'm on the highway, when it's doing its weird shake thing, it's no, actually no, it can't. It can't be. It can't be that. Because the shake, I can shut the car off and it still has it. Right? So it can't be ignition. Like alternatively, I could test it without spending any money because I have another ignition box. It was the original box that was in my Mustang. I didn't have to swap it, but I did just because. So I could swap that in and just see, if it'll do it again. But I don't think that that's the problem, or if it is, it's a mixture. Because so the fueling problem, which it's hilarious to a vehicle that actually overfuels like a bastard. Like, it overfuels so bad that it gets like 16 miles to the gallon. It's terrible. It runs like shit because of it. Um, but yeah, and again, well, because Harvey, the one thing is, when it did it the first time to me, when it left me stranded out in Olds, I took the fuel line off the car. Um, and I cranked it, and no fuel pressure came out. Which, it's not the fuel pump. That's a blockage in the tank. It has to be. Or potentially, like that weird theory of a rusted line that's getting air in, but it's not leaking fuel, which to me makes zero sense of how that works. But there's been a couple of people that have said it, and, you know, but which I know there is one fuel line that should be addressed, but it wouldn't cause all of, like, the shake is the weird one that I don't understand, because it comes through the steering wheel and nothing underneath the car is bad. Like, it's got a tie rod in it that needs to be replaced, but it's not like so bad to the point of where it's going to like violently shake the car like that and make it have reduced power. But like, it's the thing is, the shake, it goes through the steering wheel and it's like shakes the dash and everything. So that's why I think that it like, it can't be the ignition, right? It can't be. And the only way I'd be able to find out, I would just risk it stranding me on the side of the road again and having to get back home with it. I would have to like swap the ignition box and then go down the road. But again, it doesn't explain. It might explain that shake, maybe, but why is it through the steering wheel? Because it shouldn't be through the steering wheel, and you can put it into neutral, and it's not RPM dependent, right? So, but it's a feeling issue. It's 100% a feeling issue. Just because, again, I had the fuel line off, I cranked it for 10 seconds, no fuel came out. So, and whether it's air in the lines, which, like I said, I do have a rusty line that it could be coming from, but it's just not leaking fuel yet. But I've never seen that, and I've only ever heard of that of like since people talked about it here. I'm like, what? How is that possible? Like, how can air get in but fuel can't get out? Like, that literally makes no sense. That like breaks all laws of physics. You know, like, or at least what I understand of it. Because yeah, I know it's like the ignition might be partially the issue, but unless if it's like multiple things that are happening at once, which is possible, that is possible, and I could check it. I would just hate to be left on the side of the road again. Um, but I don't know. Maybe on Monday I might try it and just go to Olds and back and see if it does its shake. If it does the shake with it, then I know that that's obviously not the problem. And that's like the stupid thing about this is that right now, see now, like unless if wait a minute. Well, no, I mean I had that line off, so no. I think that line's okay. I mean, I could replace all the rubber lines. Getting to the rubber lines in the gas tank's gonna be a bitch though. Which that would happen when I'm up in Edmonton, because screw trying to get to those right now with it in place in my driveway. But because the other rubber lines, there's only two other rubber lines other than the one, like I said, that's at the tank. I have the one that goes straight to the fuel pump itself, and then I have a small rubber line that. Well, the problem is, Harvey, I'm not driving the car. Like, I'm really not. I'm just taking it like around town, and that's it. I'm not taking it on the highway because I don't feel like being stranded on the side of the highway again. It's only got like a quarter tank in it right now, anyways. But again, I don't want to drop the tank out though. Because if I'm gonna drop the tank, I should just replace it because it's an old tank, anyways. But I can't afford to do that, and I hate this. I truly hate this. I wish I would have. I should have. I had it right there. The filler neck was already removed and everything. It was right there. I should have removed the gas tank out of the parts car that I had. Would have had to be cleaned, but that's not the end of the world. That's pretty easy to do. And actually, CRC just came out with their own sort of rust remover that's actually reusable, which is cool. And it's not that expensive for a 4 or 5 liter jug. It's like $40. That's not terrible actually, and you can reuse it. Where a product like CLR, it's kind of hit and miss if you can reuse it, but CRC, they promise that you can reuse it. So that's really cool and definitely worth picking up. So yeah, this is actually came off the turbo. This is the gasket for the blow-off valve on my little turbo down there. But because I would just hate to get stranded in the car again and just having to wait for it to finally start back up again. Because it'd be bizarre. But I mean, mind you, that ignition box doesn't look the best. Because even when I ran into my buddy Joseph at the swap meet, he was looking at it and going, I'm surprised this ignition box still works. I'm like, well, yeah, it does. And wait. What if I just thought of something. What if it's not overfueling the carburetor? What if it's always been an ignition problem? Making it run like shit. I never thought of that. Because a faulty ignition box could also give signs that it's overfueling, but realistically, it's just not burning it efficiently. I never even thought of that. Maybe, you know what? It's an easy thing to figure out because as soon as I start the car, and once it's warmed up, like it'll still just idle like crap. I'll know for sure if that's the problem. I didn't even think about that. And that could be why it gets such terrible gas mileage too. Because it's not burning the fuel efficiently. That's a good shout. I never even thought of that. And I should still have that ignition box somewhere around here. It's the original box out of my Mustang, but it still works. I was swapping it because I was fighting a miss and I didn't know where it was coming from, and it was the carburetor that was actually causing the miss, not the ignition itself. So, at the time, and I figured all that out. It's all good. And it was just an intermittent miss. So that's one of those things. I don't want to take the ignition box out of stitch though. I'd much rather just plug the other one in instead of taking the one out of stitch. Because those plugs are a bit of a pain in the ass to get apart too. And, you know, like I said, I have that old one around here somewhere. And again, it worked just fine. It would have needed to be replaced at some point, but here's the thing. It's not getting, like, because I don't want to, you know, remove parts from one car to try and diagnose another car to put that car down for a bit. I don't want to do that. I would much rather just grab the one that I have here that I know that works. It's in the box. I put it in the box. And it's on the table, like on my kitchen table. And hi! How's it going? Yeah, well again, Harvey, the one that I have is an original. It's the original one out of my Mustang. The one that's currently in the Mustang is one from Napa. So, like, here, I'll just grab it. Because I know it should be right on the table. Actually, leave my kitty. Yeah, actually, I'm doing pretty good. To be honest, I hope you're doing well as well. It's definitely been a minute. Where is it? What's here? Where did that go? It was on the table here. There's a bike lock. don't know where it went. Alright, so let's ignore what I just said about that ignition box, because I can't find it. It's not where I left it, so I'll have to find it, but it's not 4-pin, I think it's 2. It's the same ignition box as you run in like the V8s and stuff like that. You know, Fords and all that stuff. But yeah, I can't find the that box. It's around here somewhere, unless my dad threw it out. But I don't think he would, because he normally doesn't throw away my car parts. But I don't know where it would have gone, to be honest. Like, yeah, if I, because it's on a batch. I'm not sure where it went. I remember seeing it, but it's possible that it got chucked, and if so, that would suck. Because then I'd have to cannibalize Stitch to see if this would work. Which, it wouldn't take me long, it's just, I would rather not do that. Oh, I can go get the Duraspark. It's not a big deal. And the Duraspark 2 is actually a fantastic ignition box. I've never had any issues with them other than potentially this one. Where did it go? I just want to find that, unless it's in my front entry. You know what? Let me just double check my front entry. It might be there. Car parts, there's that car part. There. One there. One there. I don't know. I'll have to look a little closer at stuff, to be honest, to find it. Because bothering me, because I know I have it. Because it was here. I saw it here for freaking years. It sat right there. There we go. Found it. I was like, I knew it was over there somewhere. It fell off the table. So this one, which, like I said, yeah, see now, like, well, actually, it is. So you got sorry. I was thinking about something else. It is a 4-point, but there's also a 2-point. Like, see, you've got these two. So like, there's the 4-point one, and this is a 2-point. And like in this one, would eventually need to be replaced because you can start to see the circuit board, but it's not like melted through this. It's just you can see it. So, but yeah, this is the original ignition box out of my Mustang, so I can install this into the Capri and see what happens. But what's the beauty of this is that I don't even have to bolt it in. I can just unplug it, plug it in, and see what happens. You know, it's yeah, like, and there was nothing wrong with this. It's just, again, it will eventually need to be replaced. You can see, right? But it worked when I pulled it out of the car. That was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And hi, Kim. Hope you're having a fantabulous evening. I definitely know I am. To be honest, we're just kind of chatting about cars and stuff like that, and you know, talking about, like, so yes, I do have a fueling issue in my car, but at the same time, I might be actually dealing with an ignition issue. So I'll install this into the car tomorrow and see if this makes a difference, because I know this one's fine. It's been sitting around for a couple of years, but it's been sitting inside this box for a couple of years. Oh, to be honest, it's not needed. You can have this flopping around in the engine bay. It's no different than a coil, because the wiring itself grounds it. Like, you can actually see, look right there. That wire right there, that black one, that's your ground wire. It's grounded, so it doesn't need to be bolted in, I promise you that. I've played around with these before, and that's how I figured that out. But, let's see. I have the black, the green, the purple, and the orange. Then I have a red and white over here. That's what I've got. So, on this. But, yeah, because like I said, I replaced this years ago, thinking that was the problem with my misfire, and it wasn't, so. And I just never returned it. I just kept it around and kept my old ignition box, because you never know. In a pinch, I might need it, and sure shit, hey look, I might need it. Because who knows? I might pull that apart and see, like, the entire circuit board on the bottom of it, and, like, there's no rubber left on it. It's possible. But I would likely see rubber, or, like, that resin, I should say, not rubber, running down the inner fender there. So, but, it's not... I'm not even sure what my spark plug gap is actually set to. I can't remember what I set it to, but it's never been that, because like it's had multiple different. I've replaced spark plugs in that thing a few different times, and it still had this issue. So, it's just this intermittent type of thing. Wait, what? Blue pot? I don't know what you're talking about. What? Sorry, when you said blue pot mix, I'm so confused by that, actually, because I'm a little tired, so you'll have to excuse me. It is, you know, rolling up on 2 o'clock in the morning soon here. Like, it's about, like, what, 1:40 here-ish? Yeah, it's 1:50. There you go. But, yeah, like, to be honest, but I know it's not because the issues that I'm dealing with, if you don't know. So, my 81 Capri, it has it has at least, well, 2 issues that it has. So, oh, okay, I see what you mean. The issues that I'm having with that, So with my Capri, is the first one is it keeps leaving me stranded, and it's because of no fuel being flown through the lines. I know that because I cranked it for 10 seconds without the fuel line on, it wasn't cranking. So it's like, okay. Wasn't cranking the fuel, or wasn't flowing the fuel through the line anyways. So it's like, okay. So that's a issue, but it's left me stranded twice. Once on the QE2, once in Olds. And the other issue I'm having is whenever I take it on the highway, it's a mechanical pump. And it's a brand new pump, too. The pump is not the problem, I promise you that. Because you can still feel the, like, you take the line off, you can feel, the vacuum of it. So, but the second issue that I have is whenever I get it onto the highway, it used to be only the first time I got it on the highway, and then it wouldn't cause this problem again. But the more and more I drive it, the more frequently it happens. So, but anyways, I got out of the driveway about 5 minutes, or on the highway about 5 minutes or so on the highway. I get this violent shake through the steering wheel. It also shakes the dash and a couple other things, and I actually start to lose a little bit of power within the engine. And it lasts about 10 minutes or so, and then once that 10 minutes are up, it goes normally, right? No big deal. It's just that shake I can never really understand, but that shake could be intermittent ignition issue. Except for, I don't know why it's coming through the steering wheel, though. That's the only confusing part. And it's not RPM dependent, but this might be what's causing it to run like crap. So, I'll try this, see what happens. If it's still doing the same thing, I know it's not the ignition. It's just one of these things. And yeah, it's probably debris in the gas tank that's getting caught in the pickup for that portion of it. It just, the shake is the weird one. I don't understand it at all. And everything underneath the vehicle is fine. The only thing that needs to be replaced, and it's not even like a pertinent issue, it's just something that's starting to go, is the tie rod end on the passenger side. Everything else is fine. We thought that the shake that it had could have been from the wheel bearings or even the brake discs. So brake discs have been replaced, wheel bearings have been replaced, wheel seals got replaced, obviously. So well, Harvey, the fuel pump itself, it's identical to the pump that came off of it, and I only replaced the pump because I thought that the inside, because inside there is actually a gasket inside the, or like that rubber inside the fuel pump itself, and I thought it was potentially torn, so that's why I replaced the fuel pump, because the other fuel pump just fine, but I compared them side by side, they're identical. And installing Ford fuel pumps is actually really easy. I think it's the Chevy ones are the ones that are a pain in the ass. And to be honest, Cam, that's one of my most favorite videos that I filmed. I had so much fun that day. I definitely gonna hit it up again next year, as long as I can afford to get up there. But I am gonna budget it out to hopefully do it. And yeah, it should be so much fun because it's just amazing to do. And I just, it was nice of just getting faster and faster, and I ended the day with a 109, which was a very competitive time. I actually matched Roy Marco's time in his Nash Metropolitan, which is funny, but he's a more proficient driver than I am, so. See, now, Dean, that would be an odd one, because that wouldn't cause the shake, right? Like, valve springs aren't going to cause the shake that I have. So it's definitely not valve springs. I can tell you that off the bat. Because when the shake happens is also when I get the power loss. And it's intermittent, which valve springs wouldn't be intermittent, it would be constant, and the higher RPM you got, the worse it would get. But yeah, I don't think it's the valve springs, to be honest. I highly doubt it, because otherwise it'd be constant. I just one of these things that I couldn't see it. Like, it's possible, but I could not see that being a thing. You know, just a little odd. But having said that, you know, it's and I know it's not the drive shaft because all of that is it's 100% stock with the drive shaft and the U joints and everything. The U joints are in they're totally fine. The balance of the drive shaft is fine too. Yeah, and it definitely wouldn't be mine either. Because also like valve springs, while they can go, that car doesn't have enough mileage to have the valve springs go. I just know that because it had factory wires on it, so you know it's under 200,000 kilometers on that car. It's just one of those things. And the car, it was pretty much original when I got it, other than the chopped up. Well, sorry, not when I got it. When Keith got it last year. So, funny thing is about the Capri. So the Capri, me and him picked it up from Calgary and picked it up for $600, and then yeah. And hey, no worries, Harvey. I definitely appreciate you coming out to the live. To be honest, I haven't done a YouTube live in a while, and I don't know why I haven't. I've been doing more TikTok lives, but TikTok is just a toxic freaking mess, and I hate it. I don't know why I do lives on there, to be honest. Like I sometimes have good conversations on there, but you know, and you know, it's one of these things where, and it's nice to actually have people that I can talk to in the chat that actually know their stuff a little more. Um, and yeah, like, and I you know, like I plan on doing more stuff, and like the one thing is like with my Mustang, because yeah, like the next thing that's gonna happen to the Mustang is getting the header installed. I just need to save up the money to get the exhaust fully done on it when that happens, because I'll have to, you know, get it hooked up to the exhaust that's currently in the car. And yeah, at Tim's muffler there, they'll just have to do 2 cuts and then connect it all up, and should be good to go. It's quite nice, but just depends on how they want to do it. But it wouldn't cost very much. It might cost me like 150 bucks tops, so it's kind of nice. And then yeah, I'm just waiting for header bolts to come in, and then I'll be good to go. Well, once I have a little bit more cash. So yeah, like, and to be honest, it's just oh, see, too bad I can't do that from here. But yeah, like, and that's the one thing though, Dean, is if it was the valve springs, I would hear them clacking away too. So, because like you can actually hear when valve springs start to go. So, does it actually? I don't actually know your proper name there, PA, to be honest. But if it is, cool. You know. Yeah, fair enough. You know, that's really neat. And like, because yeah, the Capri is just an odd car with the problems it has. It's it's stuff I've never come across. You know, I'm like in because of some of these things that like we replace things thinking that would fix it, and it just hasn't. But you know, it's one of these interesting things. And like, there's a lot of things that about the Capri that just do not make sense at all. And it's figuring it out, but and then there's me and good old Alberta. Which, if Harvey was in the chat, it's only me and Harvey. Oh yeah, like, to be honest, like that Capri, because it wasn't really messed with too much. A little bit was done, like the exhaust was all jacked up because somebody cut out the catalytic converter, but instead of just replacing the pipe with normal pipe, they booger welded a bottle in it, like a glass pack. Don't know why they did that, but because literally the exhaust tubing would have been cheaper to buy than a glass pack muffler. But that's interesting. And to be honest, I never knew you actually had an 81 Mustang, which, I mean, I have an 81 Mustang. See, normally it's kind of funny. Normally I'm the one that's converting it for the Americans in the chat, not the Americans converting it for me. It's a nice change. Nice change of pace. But yeah, so because I never thought of the ignition, to be honest. It's a good thing I went live tonight, actually, because I don't think I ever would have thought of that. Or if I did, it would have been like months down the road. Because it's just when I started using my brain a bit, it's like, wait a minute, this could work. And yeah, if you're wondering, this is the box that the new one came in. So dude, that's cool. And yeah, I mean, the forums are kind of just dead anyways online. It's all kind of just moved on from, instead of being on the forums, they're now on Facebook. And Facebook sucks, to be honest. The forums were better to a certain degree. Facebook is a little more straightforward, but to find like certain categories, it was nicer on the forums. But yeah, Facebook killed a lot of those forums. Yeah, oh, definitely. And like something like, it does run rich, but that could also be like, when it's actually running good, it runs rich. But that could be because no matter how much tuning you do, it runs rich and it runs like shit. But it might be because the ignition is not firing correctly, and that's why. So this will be a good shout to see what the bulletin board systems. Yeah. And Cam, no, it's carbureted vehicle that's mostly stock. The only thing that it has is a Magnaflow muffler on it and deleted emissions. Other than that, it's bone stock. And and it took deleting the emissions to actually make it run half decent, and then had to swap out the carburetor as well, because the original carb is just junk. Like, it may have been able to be rebuilt, but had this other engine, and we just took it off of there. Yeah, like, and to be honest, like, O2 sensors weren't brought in until 1983, and it was only on the injected cars. But I wouldn't mind like actually adding O2 sensors on Stitch especially, and then having a air fuel ratio gauge. But it's all good, Kim. And to be honest, like that Carter carb, I want to put it on the Capri because it'll bolt right on, and it should gain a bit of performance out of the deal too, which is cool. And that's one thing because like the Capri, the Capri is not one that I really want to like build out because the only things I want to do to the Capri, so I want to put a limited slip diff in it. I want to actually swap the motor out for 296 from late 81 or 82, which has a lower mount starter for the bell housing, and put an AOD behind it. So the carb cheater is actually a really cool idea. So it's like, honestly, it's fantastic because you have sort of like tuning on the fly, right, for your carburetor. Um, and it's a very simple thing. Like, and if I'm not mistaken, there's an app for it as well, so you don't have to like install aftermarket gauges or anything. You can just use your phone with like on a mount on your dash, which is awesome. I like that idea too. And Thunderhead 289, like he's a genius. Like the fact that he was able to run a lawnmower carb on a 302 with just using variable vacuum, like a variable vacuum league, is just incredible. And like just absolute genius. Oh, he's incredibly smart, and and it's interesting because somebody commented on my thing because I put out a short little video to say why I actually have a wooden clothespin on a on my fuel line. And it's actually just a Kabat vapor lock, but I only ever vapor locked once. It was my own fault and stuff like that. People are saying, oh, you could just watch Thunderhead 289's video. You can just run a return line to the tank, and it's no big deal. I'm like, yeah, I deleted that return line because I was not running emissions on my car. So, and to be honest, and that's all it does. That clothespin, all it does is you try and get it as close to the carburetor as you can, and the heat that goes through the line, it'll get attracted to the wood itself, and it works as an insulator, and it extracts the heat from the line. It's brilliant, to be honest, and it's so simple. You could spend a bunch of money on not that I have insulation on the line itself, not for the entire line because I had to get rid of some of the line, and it's installed really poorly. I'm gonna redo it. It's not my installation job. It was somebody else's because somebody else put that line on there on the other car, and I just took that line off the other car because I needed it. But and like it's something I did with my Mustang actually, because I used to have the fuel filter up by the carburetor, but then I ran into a snag with my air filter. So what I actually did was I ran that back, and it is now just before the fuel pump. So it's in a better spot technically, and it's better if you have your filter before the fuel pump because it catches the debris that way instead of it going into the fuel pump. So it's not a bad idea to run two, to be honest, but I'm not going to. And hang on. Dean mentioned my JDM had a special mandatory red overheat. Interesting. I've never seen that before. Ah, that's really cool, actually. And to be honest, like Dylan McCool's content is kind of interesting too. I like what he does overall. I like his style, although having the Bible verses in his videos I think is a bit much. But other than that, I like the content overall. And like, and I've always wanted to, because I've never really done this. I want to go to a junkyard. I want to find a car in there, fix it, road trip it like 800 miles. I so badly want to do that. And there's one junkyard I could probably actually do it at. And if I asked around, I could probably find a place to stay at too while I do this. Because there is a junkyard that is down in Tilly, Alberta. I actually did a huge junkyard tour of that last year. Really incredible video, to be honest. I want to get back there. I want to do more filming and want to buy more parts off them too. Um, Fair enough. I mean, and yeah, like, because people have tried to say that it's a collapsed line, but it's not a collapsed line. I would have seen that unless the collapsed line is the tiny little lines that go towards the gas tank. That is possible. It's those, and that's causing a problem. But I don't think so. Because like the rest of the lines are fine, you know. Oh yeah, it definitely is. But it's something I've always wanted to do, and you know, I may not ever get the opportunity to do it, but I'd like to. Like I have a plan and everything, because literally I would just try and road trip it all the way home. Oh, hey, no, I definitely appreciate it. Like to be honest, because like a lot of people have mentioned about the collapse line, and like I can replace all the fuel lines. I've got the rubber. The ones on the tank are the ones that are the pain in the ass ones because they're really far up there, and to actually access them properly, you'd have to drop the tank a bit, which I don't want to do that because it requires taking the filler neck out to do that. But oh, it definitely is. Like and there's something because and I don't know how this one works, and maybe one of you can actually explain this to me. So I was seeing comments about this, and it was actually talking about um if you have a rusty fuel line, which I actually do have a rusty fuel line on that car. It needs to be replaced. It's just something I've been meaning to get to. I just haven't got to it yet. But it's not like going through yet. But how could air get in and fuel not get out at that point? Because I don't understand the science behind that. Because it just, to me, it makes zero sense. Because that could be my issue, to be honest, too, is that line. But it doesn't explain that whole shake situation. That's the one that throws me off. Because that really horrible shake going down the road that only lasts about 10 minutes and then it's good is just a weird one to me. And see that's fair. Like to be honest, I don't fully understand it. I could potentially look it up online and see what online says, but I just don't get it. You know, because Dean, if there was water in the fuel, that well no, because I mean no, because it would still flow if there was water in the fuel, right? So and if there was water in the fuel, I mean, I've gone through a lot of tanks of gas. Well, to boroscope the tank, him to be honest, I can have the car completely warmed up and it'll do it no matter what. So it's yeah, it can be really warmed up or just getting on the road, and it's only when I hit the highway, and it's not right away on the highway. It'll take a while and then it'll do it. It's weird. It only does that shake on the highway. It doesn't do it in the city, and it's so intermittent. The shake is the weird one because it's just I've been underneath the car. Everything is fine under there, other than that one fuel line that I need to fix, which could be causing the issues that I'm having. Partially, because there's more than one issue that's happening, obviously, because that shake makes no sense. The fueling issue makes sense, right? That's one of a few different things, but the shake is the one that throws me off altogether. And I know I need, as an example, actually, for the steering itself, like that rubber. It's supposed to be a rubber insulator, but then over time they get really hard and they start to crack. Mine is starting to get hard; it just doesn't crack yet. But yeah, no, they don't. That's the funny part. They stay the same. The only thing that happens is because like when it was surging, like so after, like yeah, the shake is the difficult one, and and when it like I had some surging go on when I was in Olds, and a lot of people are saying vapor lock, vapor lock, vapor lock. Well, it's just like, but vapor lock wouldn't quite act all like this. It's just, I seriously doubt it'd be vapor lock anyways. Because otherwise fuel would still flow technically. It just wouldn't be perfect. You wouldn't have enough fuel flow for it to run properly, right? And every day that happened, it was not running that hot. Ambient temperatures under the hood weren't even that bad, so you know, it's just weird. And that's the one thing. I have I have the perfect, you know, comparison. The car that's parked right next to it has the same drivetrain in it, other than like C4 automatic versus T5, 8.8 versus 7.5. Right? Yeah, oh, exactly, right? And also, something that would actually help the cooling of the line, which is kind of funny. I don't have a fan shroud on the car, right? So the fan itself, it blows air all over the engine bay, so it cools everything off. It's kind of actually convenient. But I am gonna add, because actually, with the horde of parts, I meant to bring the stuff with me, and I just didn't. I was just so goddamn tired after that day. Um, I have a rad to put in that car, which I'm going to do, and I've got a couple of fan shrouds to put in either of the cars. So, yeah, it'll be good. Oh, because yeah, like, and actually, how hard it is to actually come by fan shrouds like in the junkyard and stuff like that, because they're always gone or they're always damaged. So when I got this horde of parts that I have, it's like, yeah, having the fan shroud is nice. But and I'll actually have a fan shroud on stage, because I'll get that installed, and it's a V8 fan shroud, so it should fit because of the oversized rad. It'd be better on the Capri if I had, well, the rad that I actually do have is a dual core copper core rad. It's a used rad, but it'll work. So and I'd much rather just put an oversized rad in it, like I have in my Mustang. I just can't afford it. So, and this cost me nothing other than coolant, which I have coolant, so technically cost me nothing at the moment because I've had that coolant sitting around for a while, and it's already mixed for me. So, but yeah. Other than that, and that stuff will be so easy to do. I can have the rad and the fan. Like I can take the fan out of a inline six car in just a couple minutes to be, or like in about 5-10 minutes max. It doesn't take me long at all because all it is you gotta loosen the so you can get the out, and then it's bolts. Once you get those 4 bolts out, you're golden. It'll take a little longer in the Mustang than it will in the Capri, just because there's limited space in the Mustang because there is a big old rat in the way. But and I should have taken those parts with me, but I'll grab those parts when I am back up there. To be honest. I haven't swapped the Carter yet. Um, the Carter is still in the box, waiting to be swapped. Just haven't done it yet. But first thing I'm gonna do though is put this, do this tomorrow. Uh, just start it up, let it idle, and see if it still runs like crap once it's warmed up. Because once I have that, then I know it's like, oh, okay. Because the Carter carb, yeah, just I haven't put that in yet. I've been meaning to, just haven't done it yet. I've been focusing on my Mustang because the Capri has been a pile of shit. So it's just one of these things. I'd much rather have one really reliable car versus a half reliable car and one that keeps breaking aftermarket parts on me. Case in point, the throttle cable that snapped twice. But actually, it snapped 3 times. Um, and in hindsight, I didn't even have to order or I didn't even have to get a new throttle cable. I could have just cut down the sheathing and made it work. But oh well, it's not a big deal. Oh yeah, exactly. And wait a second. Hot engine idle compensator. Hot engine idle compensator. Um, I'm not even sure what that looks like on there, to be honest. Now, don't get me wrong. This carburetor is one I have never seen before. Because okay, I have that because you saw my video on, the Carter carb and and then that other Autolite carb that I have in the shed, right? Well, if you look at the carb that's on the Capri, it's none like I've ever seen before. Oh, interesting. Maybe it is. That could be part of it. Hmm. Maybe swapping that Carter, because the only thing that I'm worried about the Carter is once I have the Carter carb installed, if it's going to give me issues as in like gaskets leaking and stuff. Because it has been a carb that's been sitting around for over 30 years, right? So that's kind of the challenge, and it's interesting because it's out of a AC, so it has the compensator for air conditioning. It's electronic controlled thing, but that's it. And it's got the electric choke on it too, so I can just hook that back up and no big deal. And yeah, it's true. It's basically the same carb. That's true. And yeah, it'll be yeah, actually. And the one thing is that's Nobody has ever suggested that, and that actually makes a bit of sense. So going to the Carter might actually just be the answer. And because it's kind of new in box and hasn't been touched, I can probably just plop it on there, not have to set anything, and it should be okay. But no, definitely not, to be honest. Those things wouldn't, but that hot air compensator, I didn't even know they had that. That could be the answer. Hmm. So, okay, there's gonna be, if I have enough time tomorrow, I'll have enough time to do this because this will take me all of like 5 minutes. The carb will take me a lot longer than that just because of that stupid bracket. But for the throttle cable, interesting. Uh, Interesting, very interesting. But yeah, so like I'll show up this tomorrow and I'll put the Carter carb on it if I have enough time to put the Carter carb on it. But yeah, it's fair. It's one of these things where I never had these problems when my Mustang was stock, so that's what's throwing me for a loop, right? Um, because I didn't have to do this sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it does idle like shit though. Um, it really does. Like, it's interesting. Before I got it, like, Keith did rigorous testing when making sure that this was actually going to be a good car. He did like 4 or 5 laps of the Anthony Henday, which bear in mind, the entire Henday is like 40, 50 kilometers, right? To go around it completely. So, you do, like, he did basically a full tank of gas going around it, and it was fine. Um, and then I get it, and it's immediately a piece of shit. Like, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and now it's awful. Um, because yeah, like I have some theories, and now I have more things to think about, which is a good thing about live actually here. Like I definitely appreciate the conversations and everything, but as well like that, yeah, there's some things to think about. Oh, definitely not. Like there's a reason why like there are some things that I've kept around, some things that I should chuck out, but I don't because of stuff like this. Like what's so stupid? This I don't even need. I should just chuck this. Because do you know what this is? This is only on inline six cars. Um, Interestingly, 82s had a different style than this because they actually had 3 lines instead of 2 lines on this. But this is actually an emissions device, which is interesting. I will say that. And it's a two-parter thing. Um, wait, hang on. When the stock air cleaner is removed, it's non. Well, okay, I will say that it doesn't have the EGR on it anymore. Um, and all of those vacuum lines have been deleted entirely. But nope, it is not. What this is, because if you can hear this, hear that inside? This is an emissions device. This when the car is stuck, it has this big or like stupidly long um it has this stupidly long metal tube that comes off of the exhaust manifold, goes around the motor, and this attaches to the air filter. And this is essentially an exhaust gas particulate catcher. That's what this is. And it acts very similarly to like a charcoal canister. Similar, anyways. Even though the car actually had a charcoal canister as well, that's been deleted. So, but that's interesting actually that you're. I've never even heard of that. But to be honest, yeah, that's not what this is. This has nothing to do with vacuum. This is just exhaust particulate, catcher. It's just an emissions device. I've just kept it. I deleted this like years ago, and I've just kept it around because I deleted it on my own. Because instead of having it run, all I did was instead of cutting that line off and just crimping it and welding it, what I decided to do myself was I took this off and I just took a paper towel and I stuck it in that hole to block it off, and it worked, and that was on my Mustang. But I deleted that like 4 years ago. And I still have it. I don't know why. There's literally no purpose to keeping that. But Thermactor air diverter? That's what they call that? I mean, to be honest, I never knew the actual name of it. So there is that. I just knew it was an emissions device, and it's got, like, charcoal in it somewhere. Thermactor air bypass. Yeah, useless emissions device is pretty much what that is. It's such a waste. Like, there's so much of this stuff that, truthfully, was never needed, and it just made engines worse. Like, yes, I had, like, EGR valves as an example are just an emissions device. It's not needed. Oh, see, all of my stickers are like they're gone, so that makes sense actually. But yeah, it's interesting. To be honest, how much emissions have they actually had? Because what's interesting is there's only 1 year that actually a 289.6 could have a smog pump on it, and that's 1982. Because even I think in California they didn't have one on there. I think because they could actually pass emissions. Oh yeah, like because yeah, like all the emissions that mine had it wasn't much because like charcoal canister, that freaking thing, EGR valve, catalytic converter. That's basically it. Not much else. Interesting. I never knew that. I've never actually seen one other than some 82s have a catalytic converter. Period. Or not, sorry, not catalytic converter, but like I mean, I had a catalytic converter in mine, but I can't remember what emissions device I was talking about. Regardless, or smog pump. That's what I was. Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't have to try and delete a smog pump. Not that it would have been that hard, because I wouldn't have had to make like a delete plate or anything for it. Because they weren't serpentine setup, unless they were. And if they're serpentine setup, it's really easy to delete stuff on a serpentine. You just get rid of it, get a smaller belt. Done. Which, you know, like, if I had the ambition. Oh yeah, see, every inline six Fox body had two catalytic converters. The one is underneath the car, that's just right after the collector for the exhaust. Um, the second one is actually right at the exhaust manifold. There's a big sort of container there, and it's filled with catalytic material. So, you know, you do that, and it's all good. And hey, Kim, that's fair. Like, to be honest, um, technically speaking, we don't have emissions testing here. They don't really care, and but having said that, you know, it's one of these things. Like, cops don't give a shit if you get rid of your emissions devices here, because it's Alberta. We don't have a testing here, so they don't care. But to be honest, I don't even know what provinces still do emissions testing, because Ontario got rid of emissions testing a couple years, like a few years back. Um, Saskatchewan doesn't do it. Quebec might, but again, I don't think they do it either. I don't know where they do emissions testing in Canada anymore. I mean, they might still. I just don't know where. But oh, and Cam, that definitely can happen, 100%. Like with mine, because the primary cat, which is the one that's on the manifold there, um, that was actually deleted prior to me getting the car, like my Mustang, which that was surprising to me because I never would have thought that. Um, because the car was just like so original and not really touched very much. Like bodywork was done and a really piss poor repair job inside the car, but that was it. You know. And ooh, sorry, I'm watching. Like these are highlights from the Mecum auction at Monterey this year, and that's a Ferrari F40 that they have on the stage. I remember they could pick one of those up for like 600 grand, and this one's at almost $2 million. It's at $2 million now. Ah, fair enough. I mean, I just noticed catalytic converter, and I hate them. Oh yeah, like to be honest, and I like these auctions. I like watching these auctions. I miss when Discovery would actually do the Barrett Jackson auctions. I like the Barrett Jackson auctions more than Mecum. And oh, they just pulled the reserve at 2.3 mil. Holy crap! And again, these are you know just highlights, but that's interesting. And it sold for 2.3. Damn. Oh yeah, and that's one thing I hate catalytic converters. You know, because they're just terrible. They really are. Definitely mine too. You know, my price range is like going to McDonald's and getting a Happy Meal right now. Even though, like, yes, I'm probably gonna hit up a car meet tomorrow in Calgary. Um, it's only because the car group that I'm part of is rebranding, and they want me as part of the promo video that they're gonna put out. So yeah. Oh, 100% Kim. Like, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of, you know, the emission systems back in the day. They're a little better now, but they're still, like, some of them are still just like, why do they even exist? And they still choke down engines and stuff. But brand new, like, as an example, um, high flow cat and stuff. Wait, what? I don't know what I said that you said congrats to me about that. Sorry, I'm tired. I don't even know what I said. But you know, um, yeah, like I don't even know what I said. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I like I said, I'm tired. I'm tired. But yeah, it's um and it's a car group that I've been a part of for a few years now. Actually, I've dedicated quite a bit of time into it. Um, like they're changing their name because it used to be called No Boys Allowed, but I don't know what they're changing the name to. They haven't told me yet. I'm like one of the original members. Out of everybody, like I think I was like the fifth one to join the group, so it's kind of cool actually. I left for a little while due to some drama that was happening, but then the woman that was causing said drama, she got kicked. So then I joined back. But it was just somebody that I don't really have any dealings with anymore, which is good because yeah, it's sad. Like we were really good friends for a while, and then sadly, it just it fell apart due to misunderstandings and stuff. And then she changed, and it was a whole freaking debacle. But it's fine. Which is interesting because like she still actually subscribed to my YouTube channel. Found that out because I can actually for people who actually have it public, I can see that. But yeah, it'll be cool and to see them for one last time this year probably because I don't think I'm gonna be traveling there that much. Oh, definitely. Like to be honest, because it's such a nice car club. And what's interesting is like it's a women's only car club. We have unisex meets and whatever else, but sometimes it's just for the members, and it's a lot of fun. And I have way more fun at those than I ever have at anybody else's car meets that I'm a part of. So it's great, and I don't know like what the name is gonna be at all, or what all they're rebranding. Is it just gonna be the name? Is it gonna be how things are run? Like I don't know. They haven't kept me in the loop, so that's okay. I'm not part of like the whole creative team or anything. I'm just a very loyal supporter and just have fun that way. Because like unfortunately, like my local car club here, they yeah, just some shitty human beings that are running it now. It's sad. It's a shadow of its former self. Like I built that club from basically getting 5 cars to one night we got 42. That was 100% me, and just promoting it and everything, and um, and then look at that. Since I have left, they get maybe 4 or 5 cars if they're lucky again, because I was the one doing all the work to promote it, and most people don't even know this exists because I didn't, and I reached out to the there is a cruise sort of calendar that they put out like all the weekly car meets and stuff like that and all the car shows that they know about and I reached out to them to actually put it in that their sort of column. And so we did have some people from that, and then just from me going to the different groups and saying, "Hey, we got car mates out in Sundre. If you want to come out, it's a different vibe out there. Out here, it's really cool. You get to do a cool drive too, because wherever you're coming from, it's just a nice drive." Now we had some people like peak COVID as an example, because we didn't stop during COVID. Like we stopped for like about 2 or 3 weeks, but then we realized cops don't care that we're meeting, so we just kept doing it. And we had people come as far as Edmonton because they wanted to go to car meets so badly, but they weren't allowed to do it in Edmonton because they were policing it so harshly. But here, cops didn't care. In fact, we actually had cops sometimes at the car meets, and they would just come check out the cars, and we would chat with them. It was pretty cool. But sadly, don't have that anymore. Oh, 100%. Now, the one thing is, I was never organizing. All I did was promote it. That's all I did, and I just happened to be the one person that was there like every week. It was very rare that I did not make it, because we had it, Friday evenings, and at first we started out. It was at the Napa here in town, but that was a shitty location, to be honest. We outgrew it very quickly. Then for like 2 or 3 meets, we actually had it at the stadium, and then we actually did it at the Co-op Card Block. And the card block was great, lots of room. That's where we had over 40 cars there. It was fantastic. But sadly, and now like they don't even the guys that are running it now, they don't even use the card block anymore. I'm going like, that was such a prime location. Like sometimes we had issues with like a truck driver being parked in the way, but other than that, it was fine. But, it's one of these things. And just unfortunately, there's toxic people out there, and what can you do, right? And one of them was just toxic to me for, I don't even understand why. Like, the one portion of it, I apologize for. I moved on. They never did move on from it. Because I made a mistake when I was, filming at the car meets. I was pointing out flaws when I was doing my videos. And it wasn't to be harmful, and I understand why it could be taken that way. I was just showing that, like, hey, it doesn't matter what you bring here, it's okay, no big deal. And it just got misscrewed that way, and unfortunately, the one guy just, we don't get along anymore. Now, luckily, when we run into each other, he doesn't do anything, thank God. But, yeah, and then I apologize. I apologize publicly too here on YouTube. And I guess he just didn't accept that, and he never moved on from it. And then what's weird is like I had him blocked on my Facebook too, because he was ranting and raving at me. I'm like, oh, just stop it. Like I'm not here for this. And so I eventually blocked him. What's weird, though, is when you block somebody on Facebook, if you're selling something on Marketplace, they can still message you on your Marketplace listing, which is screwed up, Like, you shouldn't be able to do that, and he was able to. So, I happened to be selling a Suburban at the time, and he was interested in it, and he just went, hi, is this available? I did not reply to him. Right? I just left it. I'm like, no, I am not dealing with you at all, because you're just an asshole to me, and he's been an asshole to me. He used to be really nice, and then that whole thing happened, and now he's a dick. But yeah, so then he started posting all over Facebook that I was a scammer, because I didn't message him back on, hi, is this still available? That's it. Because I didn't want to deal with him. Yeah, like, and it's just so dumb. And what's so funny is when I was doing my YouTube content, and this was before I was monetized. You know, he was telling me that, hey, I should, you know, invest my money I make off of YouTube into the car group. I'm like, I I didn't tell him this, but like, I don't make money off of YouTube. I do now, but it's a pittance at the most on here. Like I get $100 every couple of months. Like it's not much. So yeah, oh definitely. And like, and there's always gonna be those people, but what can you do, right? You just move on, and no big deal. Thankfully, like he doesn't cause a scene whenever I see him. There's another guy here in town too. His name is Mike. He's just a loudmouth asshole. He always has been. And the last time I had a run in with him was I was actually just filling up gas in my car, and he makes this joke to say, "Hey, you're supposed to be 500 feet from me." I'm like, I'll just piss off. I just ignored him, and I kept, you know, walking because I was actually paying with cash for the pumping fuel, right? So went inside to prepay, and he yelled something at me to say, "Hey, it's just a joke, right?" I'm going, "Dude, you're being an asshole. Leave me alone. Thank you." And he starts screaming at me from across the parking lot. I'm like, "Oh, just piss off, dude. Like, seriously, just piss off." And, you know, it just turned into a bit of an argument, and then he, you know, stormed off in his truck, and I'm like, that was not necessary at all. Like, you didn't have to be an asshole. You didn't have to talk to me one bit. You could have just left me alone. And now he does, thankfully. Whenever we run into each other, he doesn't say a word. It's like, thank God. Because, yeah. Just, you know. And that's one thing, like, here on YouTube, I help whenever I can. I can't help people monetarily because I'm broke myself, but when it comes to, you know, like, giving people information or inspiration, stuff like that, that's what I'm here for, right? Like, I built this channel for, like, 3 reasons. I never intended to make money off this, it just happened to now. Is, like, the first thing was to document my cars. Second thing was to help people. And third thing was just to have fun. That's it. That's the whole reason why I made my channel. Like, it really, really shouldn't have been worse than that. And I've dealt with a bunch of trolls and stuff like that. That's fine. Especially TikTok. TikTok is a toxic mess. It's worse than YouTube is. Because YouTube, actually, I get, like, typically really nice people in the chat, and, you know, it's great. TikTok, on the other hand, yeah, I have to ban 30 to 40 people every single time I go live on TikTok. It's brutal. And I do a lot more. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, and I know that, like, and something that I love, because I've seen comments on my stuff to tell me that, hey, you know what? Like, the best one I ever saw said, guy was 72 years old. He was watching my content, watching what I'm doing, and I inspired him to work on his 71 Challenger that's been sitting in his garage for 20 years. And I never heard if he got anywhere with that, if the car is running now or anything. But that was really cool to read that. And, you know, and I do hear every now and then that I've inspired people to work on their car, which I love that, you know, I really do. But it's one of these things where, you know, I don't expect people to say it, and that's fine. I know that, like, I have my fans on here and everything, and, you know, I would love to have, like, a big enough fan base to where I could just, like, make a car event and have, you know, like, hundreds of cars in it. That'd be so sweet. I don't know if I'll ever get that big, but if I do, it'd be really sweet. And, like, I have been invited to bigger car events, to be honest. I just haven't been able to get to them because there are people that have watched my videos and they want me to kind of film their events and and just show what it's all about. And I would love to. It's just sometimes I just can't make it. Like I think it was Rock in August. They messaged me like a couple years ago to try and get up to their event, and I just could not make it. Um, at the time, I just didn't have money. That's all it was. And they didn't offer me money to go up there. So it's one of these things, and I'm just a broke car girl that happens to have not like I don't have like big dreams for my car. Like I keep my expectations low because I don't have the money. Because otherwise, like, yeah, there's so much more stuff I want to do, like a big wide body on the car, and you know, make it instead of make like 200 horsepower, make like 400 horsepower, or maybe even 500 horsepower with fully built internals, or even like have a stupid, like custom block and stuff. But again, I don't have the money for that, so I don't. 100%. Like, and eventually, it will. And like, I have my fans. Like, I know actually, good friend of mine, Natalie. She is like she started as a fan of my YouTube channel. Then we started chatting, and I convinced her to come out to one of the Sundry meets, and then she was hooked into the car hobby. And that was fantastic, to be honest, because it was actually her boyfriend that was watching my content, and then she got interested, and from that, so it was really cool. I was gonna say, yeah, Dean, is that where? Yeah, because you came from that, right? Where I did that on the Aussie Charger video, which you could tell in that video I knew almost nothing about the car. Tried to brush up a bit on it, but there's not a lot of publications out there on it, and it was just one of these things. But that was a highlight of my YouTube career, is filming that. But what was interesting, so I actually did 3 videos that day. Most people don't realize this. I did the video on that Aussie Charger. Actually, no, before. Was that before or after? No, before that, I did the video on the Ford Durango, which that thing was really cool too. I want one so bad. I know somebody who has like 9 of them, or no, I think he has 7. I'm like, how the hell do you have 7? They made 212 of them, and you own 7 of them. It's wild to me. And then I did the review of that Toyota Supra that day, which, to be honest, I wish that video would have been better. That video came out like crap, but I still posted it anyways because I post my bad videos too. Because you see my good stuff and my bad stuff. That's fine. My other car reviews were a little better. Like, my best car review was my first car review. Which was that, the 2020 GT California Special Mustang. There's another car review that was supposed to happen this year and it just didn't, and I didn't hear if Paul really got his car fixed. I think he did finally, but I was supposed to review Cars with Vega, which who knows? Maybe I'll contact him, like, say on Monday, and see if he's available, or like next weekend if the weather's still good, and maybe do a review on his Kazi, because I've done a video on his Kazi. I just have not done a review of it. I've driven his Kazi. It's a fun car. Very fun car. And which, it's kind of sad, because you expect, like, the Cosworth name to do a lot, but unfortunately, that video doesn't have, like, a ton of views. I think it has, like, 1,000 views. But, yeah. Well, I appreciate that, to be honest. And I want to do more car reviews, like, because again, I've only done I think 3. Um, but it's I can't review my own vehicles because that's, you know, I'm biased to those. Um, and when I review a car, I want it to be my first sort of time driving it. Now, technically, when I review that Kazi, it won't be the first time I've driven it, but I've only ever driven it once, so there's that. I would re-experience again, and I still remember how it drives, but it's one of those things, and like stuff I have to remember. It's like, hey, I can't really bang shift it that much because of the way that its transmission is. You can actually break it easier on those. Like his is a 76, I think. 76 Cosworth Vega, and it's really cool. Like, very cool car. Very much a survivor, and it's in incredible shape. You know, I'm just seeing the injection systems and everything, and like how expensive those cars were. You know, they were within $50 of the base price of a Corvette at the time, which is insane. It's also the only it was the first GM vehicle to be offered with electronic fuel injection. You know, the only options were, I think, a radio, which having, you know, AM or AM FM radio, and I think the only other option you can get was a little bit of sub diff. That's it. You know, like, it's really not much that you could get for options. In different years, like 77, you could actually get it in a different color, because initially they were all black and gold, but then you can get silver on gold, red on gold, or I believe blue on gold as well. But yeah, just one of these things, and you know, there's so much stuff I want to do, so much stuff I want to film. There are people that I contacted at car shows, and I still haven't been able to really get to their collections. Some of them I've tried, some of them I haven't, I will fully admit. You know, and I haven't been cold calling people on their cars to say, hey, can I do a video on your car? You know, as much. But the one thing is, and it's nice because I can do junkyard tours, and actually those go out really good. Well, see, like, and the interesting thing is, so one of my videos that I did, and I don't know why it got the views that it did, but it did, is a few months ago, I did a video on a 70, what was it, 73 Chrysler New Yorker, and that video has over 15,000 views. I'm like, but why? You know, it's a cool car, but why does it have so many views? And I made a mistake in the video. And I said that that was a body on frame vehicle, but all Chryslers were unibody after I think it was 1963. But I had forgotten that when I was filming, and a lot of people pointed that out to me, that it's a unibody. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm used to full-size Fords and Chevrolets that weren't unibody. And, you know, it's just one of those things. And I just plain forgot. So yeah, and it is crazy. Like, the things that you think are gonna do really well can actually tank. And a lot of the times they do. And that's the one thing about my channel here, is you see my mistakes. Like, here's the thing. When I was talking about not my last video, but I think the video before that, I was talking about my 81 Mustang, right? And I was talking about getting it running again and stuff like that, and I was showing it idling. Well, I actually did reshoot that video because the first part, I actually, basically didn't have a head in that video. But then on, when I get to getting outside of the car again, after I've kind of started it up and showed the cold start of it and everything, I was doing something different with the camera. Instead of doing the steady camera that I normally did, I decided, you know what? Let's do this not a steady cam, but as just a regular cam. It'll look slightly better, but I didn't bring the tripod back far enough. So in parts of towards the end of that video, you only see half my face like this. But I left that in the video. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to reshoot that a third time. I'll just leave that in the video. And nobody even commented on it, which I'm surprised about. Because in the beginning when I would do that, God, I had so many people, and they were just being helpful, to be honest. They would say, hey, did you notice this? Or this is something you could do differently and stuff like that. They were really helpful in the beginning. It was kind of cool. Like, because I didn't know what this video, like what this channel was going to be before. Because if you watch some of my early content, it was just me in my car talking about the car hobby and with my car and what I'm wanting to do with it, that sort of thing. That's all it was. And then it evolved. I got a tripod after that, and then I started being outside the car. And like something I didn't even realize was, well, having my phone in a horizontal position rather than an upright position, it provides a better viewing experience. So then I started doing that, and it's just one of these things. Oh, exactly. Like, I still make mistakes, and that's fine. And I keep all my mistakes in the videos because there are people that ask me like, why don't you edit your videos? And oh, it definitely is a learned skill because yeah, there's a lot of stuff still, like there's stuff I could still do better now, and I just don't. No big. Well, yeah, like, and that's the one thing because there are so many channels that are just over edited and they don't show the mistakes. Because with my thing, like you'll see the mistakes, and something that I'm gonna do is and again I should have brought the rad back with me, but I didn't. But so and it depends on what you're doing because it's not like I haven't done editing. To be honest, I can edit. I just don't like to do it. Like, and it's usually like my editing is usually editing clips together, rather than like editing stuff out. But it's one of these things. Like, my channel is unique in that form though because there's not very many channels that are like mine. And and I like that, but that's the one thing. If people started to copy me, I don't mind. In fact, I find that a little flattering, to be honest. And like, as an example, because like there are people that get upset when like you, like as an example, there are people who get upset like if you have a unique car build and then somebody builds theirs similar to yours and they get upset about it. I'm like, why would you get upset? That should be the most flattering thing because you built something that somebody wanted so badly that they decided to copy you. I love that. If somebody wanted to copy the way that my Mustang looks, go for it. That would be awesome to see. I would love to see people's interpretation of my car. 100%. You want to do the build exactly like mine? go for it. You want to, pick an inline six Fox body and put a T5 behind it? Do it. Have fun with it. Like there are some people that now wouldn't like it as much to do what I do because I'm doing it the hard way. You know what would have been so much easier? Swapping to a 302 and just having 200 horsepower on tap, no problem. Instead of investing in doing the T5 swap on its inline six and investing in the inline six and all this different stuff, it's more expensive to work on the inline six. Like if I wanted to, as an example, if I wanted to get really, really, really good rocker arms on that car, that would cost me like $600 for rocker arms. That's like 600 American. It was brutal. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, like I don't know. Like there had to have been somebody else that did a fastback Mercury Capri before Kiwi did. Like I can imagine somebody did like a custom show car back in the day and did it. It's just it's not like televised or like on YouTube or anything. It was just somebody in their small town that did it, right? Because I can imagine somebody would have, but and that's one thing. Like I know for a fact I am not the first one to build a Mustang like this, because people do it on their first gens all the time. Now, Fox Body is a different story. To my knowledge, I'm the only one modifying in this way, an inline six Mustang. That's a Fox Body Mustang. To my knowledge, I'm the only one. But it doesn't mean that there aren't other people. They might not be publicizing their stuff. They might not be online. You never know, right? They might not give a crap about YouTube and don't want the attention that it gets. And that's fine too. I don't mind. Like, I want to meet these people, but at the same time, it's like I understand, though, that if you don't want to. And that's totally cool. Like, and I like to meet new people. All the time. That's one thing I love about car events. Like, I'll go up to random people and start talking to them about their car. And, just ask them questions about it and whatever else. Sometimes I don't know. Like, I've come across people that have genuinely no idea what their car is, and I actually can teach them about their own car, because there is a car that's local here. I've seen it a few times. The first time I saw it, me and my dad were actually at the car show, and it was kind of surprising. So, the reason why this thing was surprising, because it was a 1978 Lincoln Mark V. Well, I know a little bit about those. And my dad knows a little bit about those too. So, the Lincoln Mark V only came with one engine option. Well, two, technically, depending on the year. 77, 78, you can get the 460. 79, you can get a 400. Although, apparently, late 78s, you can get a 400 as well. But, this didn't have any of those. Somebody, unless... and that's the one thing I didn't ask him, because then he wouldn't have even known. Because this car had a 351 Windsor in it, which was a little odd, and it had the full factory equipment on it too. Because I do wonder if that was a mule that got out that wasn't supposed to, or somebody put a 351 in it and made it a what if. Well, see, if it was a Mexican spec, it would have had a weird VIN, and it didn't. It had a Canadian VIN on it. So, that's one of those things, and again, it's just confusing. Because, Canadian VINs are 1F, at least from back then. Or at least for the Fords, anyways, they were 1F. And, American cars are, 1M or something like that from back then. I'm trying to remember. It's been a minute since I looked it up. But, yeah, I don't think it was I don't think it was a Mexican car, to be honest. Which even then, I've never even heard of a Mexican spec Lincoln Mark V, to be honest. Like, I'm sure they exist, but with a 351 Windsor, like I've never heard of a 351 in a Lincoln Mark series. Period. Even though the Lincoln Mark 7 should have came with a 351, but that's besides the point. I don't know why, like, because even with a 351, a Mustang still would smoke a Lincoln Mark 7, so it was just so heavy, you know. See, this was a 351 Windsor that was a 4-barrel. But like, cause if you look it up online, the Lincoln Mark V, like, you don't see anything about a 351 ever being put in one period. Because again, Lincoln Mark V. This is not Mark 6. Mark V. 1977, 1978, 1979. Right? That's Mark V. Like, yeah, the Mark 6 could have a 351 Windsor. But, I don't know. Like, I've never heard of one having a small block in it. They've always had big blocks. You know, not until the Mark 6 anyways. And Mark 7. Which the Mark 7 should have come with a 351. Just should have. And said they put the throw 2 in though. And that wasn't their only engine option. They did have a BMW diesel as well, which was an odd decision. I don't know why they did that, but they did. But it's kind of one of those unicorns that I want to find and own for a little while. Is finding a Lincoln Mark 7 with the diesel option would be really cool. But I mean, I know like California did some weird things, but reading up on any publication online, I don't see anything about a 351 Windsor in a Mark V, to be honest. And because I did a bunch of research afterwards, and I could not find anything on it. Oh, really? No, that's interesting. Yeah, because I've never even seen a 400 with a 4-barrel period. That's really cool. Because yeah, like I know there was probably a lot of stuff that they were experimenting with back then, and you know, like, and I do know like some 78s could technically have a 400 in them. It was a late year option if I'm not mistaken, and then 79 was 400 only. You could not get the 460. But yeah, it's just a little interesting, to be honest. It was cool. And you know, like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll be sure to look for that, I guess, if I ever find one out in the wild. That's good information to hold on to. Because like something like you know, some of the parts that I have, which I should restore those parts and just, you know, really make them look like a diamond in a goat's ass. Because there's that pace setter header that I should, you know, clean up better and cut away the ugliness of it. Because there's really ugly welds on it that I should just cut completely. Just cut those off. And then the header itself, I should just get it completely down to bare metal and get some header paint and paint it. And then I could probably sell it for, you know, decent amount of money. Don't care. There we go. Sorry, I was just getting rid of some notifications on my phone. But, oh, God. I'm getting really tired here. It's been a really awesome live. I did not expect to be live for over 2 hours, but I'm getting really tired. I need to go to sleep. So I really appreciate everybody coming out, though. Thank you so much for the wonderful conversations. And actually, like something that I am gonna do because I don't think I actually follow her. I want to actually follow Kim Fixes Things because I don't think I'm subscribed to her. So I do want to check out her content. Oh, that's okay. That's really cool. Yeah, it would be awesome to have one of those, but yeah, like I'm definitely gonna check out her content and yeah, hopefully I enjoy it. But honestly, you two, it was an absolutely wonderful chat. Thank you so much, and yeah, I'll definitely shout out y'all later. Ah, cool, very cool. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. So, but I'll check out your content and yeah, I'm gonna sleep because you can start to see the bags under my eyes, like how bad those are getting. So I definitely need to sleep. So much love to the chat. Bye.